Welcome to 365 Days of Richer Living. Daily morning reading, meditation, and prayer time. I am Reverend Rafe Ellis from the Columbia Center for Spiritual Living in Columbia, Maryland. And today is February 23rd. I have faith in the parentage of God and the kinship of humanity, and my actions show this to be true. Our scriptural quote for today is from the 33rd Psalm, verse 12. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, and the people whom it hath chosen for its own inheritance. And our reading begins. Those who the earth has labeled great are people who extended their thinking to include all nations and all races. Only people with petty minds indulge in racial hatreds and distinctions. God's perfect idea of humans is the basis for every living soul, and we must believe this and act as though it were so. When we dislike people and groups, we are bearing witness to our small and limited viewpoints. The people in whom we fail to find good are born of the same mind, operate under the same law, and express the same life as we do. Our inability to see their divine origin is our self-created stumbling block. Often we are held back by our own petty dislikes of other people. Jesus could include the whole world in his thought because he believed in a God who was in all and acting through all. The, quote, chosen people, end quote, are those who have chosen to love their fellow humans and find good in them. And so our affirmative thought to take into our time of silent meditation is this. I believe in the parentage of God and the kinship of humanity. No one is better than myself. No one is less than myself. I live in God's universe filled with God's beloved people, and I cooperate with them in love. I hate no human. I dislike no human. I love the truth that expresses in every nationality, every race, and every creed. I extend my thought to include them all in universal blessing. I know that every person is unfolding in spiritual understanding and growing in wisdom. Every person I meet today brings more of God to my remembrance. They bless me in interesting and loving ways. They enrich me with ideas of value. And so in this moment, turning to that place within where the self recognizes the self, where the human recognizes the divine, where the divine recognizes the human, into that internal place of absolute unity, of absolute oneness, of absolute reality. I recognize the truth of oneness. I recognize a power and a presence indefinable, unnameable, infinite, eternal. I recognize this as the substance of my being, as the substance of all being, as the substance of life itself. I recognize that the activity of creation is the activity of this one substance, this one entity that is more than an entity. It is an activity. It is a presence. It is a power. It is a love. It is life. It is infinite intelligence. It is absolute abundance. It is the very nature of all. And being made out of it by it, I further recognize that I am here to be a living, breathing, individualized human expression of that which I am made of. The I amness. That this individualized journey is simply one of expressing, of owning what I am made of aligning my human thinking, my human viewpoints, my human perceptions, aligning them with the truth of my being. And so I speak my word, claiming and affirming that anything that hinders that alignment is removed from my thought processes, is removed from my viewpoints, is removed from my belief system, is neutralized, is brought into my awareness so that I can course correct, so that I can participate in changing the neural pathways and aligning my brain with the truth of my soul, the truth of universal soul. And in that alignment, in that shift, in the knowing, the raising up of the self, and the self knowing the self, there is an instant knowing of all else. Because as I embody, as I know the truth of my being, I know the truth of all being. That's the reality of one. And as I know the basis, as I know the foundation, as I know the essence, as I recognize, as I know again the essence of all life, I am open to experience the individuality, the individualized expression, the magnificence of diversity of all life. Becomes a curiosity, becomes a joy, becomes a treasure trove of experience. So I welcome that this day. I commit myself to that this day. I commit myself to releasing all that stands in the way of a full, complete, harmonious experience of the diversity of creation itself. Grateful, so incredibly grateful to hear the words of the divine spoken as me, as they're formed and spoken. Grateful to understand that speaking is moving consciousness into the activity of fulfillment of law. That just as quickly as the words are formed in mind and spoken in voice, the very substance, the very source that thought them, that spoke them, responds to them, making them so. And the human aspect of me gets to watch, gets to travel the path of unfolding, gets to say yes to being something more magnificent than I imagine myself to be. And I am grateful. Grateful with every fiber of my being. And so in this gratitude, from this gratitude, as this gratitude, of faith in that belief in that unseen substance. I see it. I know it. And all that allows me to be it. And so the only thing left to do is release and be. And so I surrender. I surrender to the activity of law, of life unfolding. And I commit myself to be all that I came here to be. And to continuously allow myself to know what that is in each moment. I invite you, if any of this resonates with your essence, with your beingness, that you own it. Own it humanly, own it spiritually, own it as your own. And then we anchor it together by saying, Ashe, Shalom, Aho, Amen. All of which means, and so it is.